So, Clayton, this is it. First time ever, a web exclusive. This is the BO Boys, the after show,
Mm-hmm.
coming out for this Taylor Swift episode where you kind of tried to fuck me over by just springing a divvying up the millions segment in the middle of the show. So, I mean,
Are you trying to get us demonetized before we're monetized with the F-bomb? Is that what this after show is? Is it filthy time? Is
I
it
mean,
blue? Is this the blue hour?
the after show is supposed to be where anything goes, but you're right. We do want to monetize. So that will be the final profanity in this episode. But I mean, how do you think that went? This after show is going to be about us. We'll talk about some showbiz topics we didn't get to, but I think it's going to be more about us talking about how the show went. And how do you think the divvying up the millions just went on the BO Boys?
I mean, I think it was good. I mean, I do think that I am not as well versed in, the eras of Taylor Swift to know exactly which one
Hmm.
deserves the most money, but I do think that our episode will get out to a lot of Swifties, people who know, and they will debate it. And debate
Right.
is always good. So I do hope there's a debate with the understanding that I was not there to offend or, speak ill of any of the eras. I think I did a respectable job.
Yeah. I guess I remembered you as a bigger fan of Taylor Swift than I guess you actually are. I thought you did consider yourself a Swiftie.
No, I see what a Swiftie is. I said, I see what it is. It's not me. I'm not that. That's not
Yeah.
me. I'm not, there's people who are Swifties, and then there's people who are, like Taylor Swift. I would say I'm one of those people.
Right, right. Yeah, I thought you had a firmer grasp on exactly what each era was
I
than
have
you
a
seem
firm
to.
grasp on, I mean, the eras are the albums.
Right. The eras of the albums. Okay.
Yeah. And I named the albums.
Right, right.
It's hard for you to know how my grasp is when you have no grasp.
Of Taylor Swift, no. No.
Yeah. So you don't know if I know it or
But
I don't know it.
it did seem I get that I don't have the context, but even without that context, your grasp of Taylor Swift still did not seem as strong as I would have thought it was.
What was I lacking?
Something. There was something missing. There was
Okay, there's
something
something.
missing.
Okay, this is from somebody who knows nothing. Says there's something missing. So the person who knows nothing says that there's just something that's missing.
You don't have to know what's there to know that there should have been something else there.
That's the I know pornography when I see it. So that's basically what you're saying is like, I don't know how to define it, but I know it when I see it.
Yeah.
And that's, I know. And you're saying, I know that there was a mistake there and there was an ignorance there, but I don't know what it was, but I know it was there.
I know it was there. Yeah, I know it was there.
All right. Well, I think this is all sour grapes from me springing on one of our most popular segments that you didn't think about. See, this is what it is. You didn't have the foresight to think of us divvying up this millions, even though it was a slam dunk segment that we should have planned to do. Well, and I just happened to say, let's do it.
The thing about
and you were excited.
Up the millions, I was in show mode. The thing about divvying up the millions for this movie is that in some ways it was always going to be a farce because it's all Taylor Swift. The movie
and Donna Kelsey.
And Donna Kelsey. Yeah, it's that we would have had to give Donna Kelsey or made a case for Donna Kelsey to get more to make that segment work, I think.
So the segment didn't work.
We're here on the after show. This is what this is about. I don't know if the segment worked.
All right. Well, the segment probably didn't work because you bailed on it at the end and didn't do the math.
That didn't help.
Thank you for saying that didn't help.
That didn't help. It didn't help.
You know what? What's not helping is also hurting. That's another way to say it. So you hurt the segment by bailing on it.
Not helping doesn't equal hurting.
Sometimes.
But yeah, I think
It hurt
this.
my brain trying to think what 13 minus 2000 was.
Well, that was a huge monkey wrench when you started throwing out math that you couldn't possibly do yourself.
Because you do the math. Historically, you've done the math in that segment. You've loved doing the math. You're a numbers guy. You're a guy who used to do fantasy baseball by hand.
Right.
And if anybody
out of the
knows,
box scores, out of print newspapers.
that is to our young audience, our very, very young audience. They don't even have a concept of that. But let me tell you, it's psychotic to do that.
Yeah.
And it takes somebody who loves numbers to do it.
Yeah, but
you
that was a
bailed
long
on it
time
because
ago. That was a long time ago.
You bailed on it because I started the segment. If you would have started the segment, you would have never bailed on it.
I would have been much more invested in it. Oh, yes, for sure. For sure.
See, it upsets me when I accuse you of something and you don't defend yourself. You agree, because then there's nowhere for me to go.
Well, but I agree, but I don't admit that it matters.
It hurt the segment.
But the segment should have never existed.
In this ratings book, if we see, because we can go by the minute.
Yeah.
If there's a dip when you bail, that is you tanking a segment. That is you tanking the segment, which you did at the end by not doing the math. There was no satisfactory ending to that segment because you bailed on the math.
So, but you're taking no ownership of you started this segment and then you have nothing to do with the math.
Anytime
throwing out last minute, incredibly difficult math to do on the spot.
Historically, I have never done the math in that segment, and you know it. So why would I all of a sudden change up and start being a math whiz with my calculator out? Okay. That's not my part in the segment. When you agreed to do the segment, what you should have done is said, let's not do it now. Let's do it at the end of the run. And then we would have just never done it because we've said we're going to divvy up stuff and we never do it. And, you know, it's not like our word is bad because of that. It's just we never get around to doing the segment. So you should have deflected it. But you didn't deflect it. You were excited. I mean, I wish that people, you know,
they can't.
The only way you can see this, though, the only way you can see this is if you're watching YouTube. This is not going to be audio. So the people who are watching this probably watch that. Go back to that moment when I bring up that segment. The look of elation on your face.
I was trying to be encouraging.
That
was my mistake.
I know when you're blowing smoke up my ass. I know because you do it a lot. That was not blowing smoke up my ass. That was, yes, let's do it. That's a great idea.
Yeah, I was trying to. I was trying to be encouraging, and now I realize I should not have been.
Well, then next time, if you don't want to do the math and I bring up divvy up the millions, push it aside. Say, let's not do it. Let's do it next time. Let's do it at the end of its run. Let's do that. So that's what you do. Just push it to the side.
So the one non-show relay, is there anything else about this show that we want to go over on the after show?
I thought it went well, but obviously you didn't. So we're just at different points of view here. So I don't think we're going to get to the bottom of that here. I think it's going to be one of our most popular segments ever, but what do I know? Until the end when you tank.
Hey, I hope it is because I'll still benefit from it. And then if it's not, I'll be vindicated. So either way, I win on this one.
Sounds good.
Do we want to talk about Will and Jada Smith?
In what context?
That was the only thing on our checklist for the after show.
Yeah. In what context? Because I mean, there's a lot to be said here. She
said that they basically have not been married for 7 years, and now Will Smith is saying he's basically saying that was enlightening to hear that. Kind of woke him up. He said, told the New York Times today. This stuff this week, let's talk about it from the BO Boys perspective. Does this help Will Smith as a movie star in any way?
Oh, it hurt. all this only hurts him. I mean, he was a guy who was, on the ascent again. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, only a few movie stars can do what he and Tom Cruise did, which is regain their stardom in a way that they are now like, there was a point there where, Tom Cruise with Maverick was as big as he's ever been.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a point with Will Smith with Aladdin and then Bad Boys for Life, where I wouldn't say he was where he used to be because Big Willie Weekend, there was a weekend named after him, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was getting there. He was one sort of big movie away from being back there.
Mm-hmm.
And now he is a joke to people.
Yeah.
He's a joke. And he was a joke after he slapped Chris Rock. And he's even more of a joke now because Jada's going around saying, well, we weren't even together when he slapped Chris Rock. And all this talk of like her stepping out on him and stuff was all done while they were separated. So it was all a farce. They were like lying about this.
Right. Or he
And I
didn't
think
know. I don't know what he knew at this point. I don't
so.
know if
You
he
don't.
knew they were divorced, knew they were separated. I don't know what he knows anymore. I don't think Will Smith knows what he knew at any point.
And I don't want to turn this into Us Weekly Boys, but
No. But
Tom
it is the
Cruise
after
knew.
show. We're on the after show.
Tom Cruise knew when he was divorced from Nicole Kidman.
Yes.
Nicole Kidman didn't do interviews for what's a movie that she did after the divorce? She's done a ton after the divorce.
Moulin
but,
Rouge.
Mulan, that wasn't after that was before the divorce.
No, that was I'm almost positive that was her.
Moulin Rouge was like 2001.
I am going to look it up, and on the after show we could do things like this, like Google. So Moulin Rouge was 2001. When did they get divorced? They got divorced. Nicole Kidman divorce happened in this. I'm getting, of course, the famous picture of her dancing outside of the courthouse. 2001. Yeah, I'm
okay. Great.
Nicole
then
Kidman.
All right.
Moulin Rouge was her big like. I'm done with this guy. Yeah.
But then The Hours was later than that, right?
Yes. When she won the Oscar, yeah, that was full on single and ready.
So it's not like she was doing promotion for The Hours and said, well, since my divorce with Tom Cruise, and then Tom Cruise said, wait, what?
Right.
Tom Cruise knew when he was divorced. Brad Pitt knew when he was divorced or separated.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
A star knows when they're fucking divorced.
Yes. Jack Nicholson is known about all his divorces.
Yes. Tom Hanks knew about his initial divorce. It was not a surprise to him.
Right.
Even though she was not a star, it was not a surprise. Okay? As a movie star, you need to know you're divorced or you're married or you're separated. You need to know your status.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not good for Will Smith's star power for him to be a guy who was unaware of when he had been divorced.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nothing about this situation helps him. And I don't know how he pulls himself out of this other than at a point he could make himself seem, I guess, so pathetic that gets sympathy from the public forum, which is not the place a movie star wants to be. But
what is a movie? Okay, is there
he's
ever
almost
been a
at a
movie
Pee Wee
star?
Herman situation,
but
like
Pee Wee wasn't. That wasn't pathetic though.
But he was a laughing stock. Like Will Smith is I think the modern day Pee Wee Herman post jerking off in the movie theater. That's kind of what Will Smith. Yeah.
Well, okay, going down that road then, can you think of any actor, movie star, that their whole persona was being pathetic?
Their whole persona.
You know how there's actors who have been dashing and handsome and tough. John Wayne was tough.
Yeah.
But like, who is the actor that their whole thing was pathetic. I think you hit on one when you said, did you say Hugh Grant?
No, I didn't. But his
Okay.
thing wasn't pathetic. It was
But,
being
but
charming.
but a little bit, I wouldn't go as far as pathetic, but I think he's the closest to that sort of, I'm a little bit goofy and a little bit awkward, but still being a like movie star. But he never fully went into pathetic.
Right.
There's never been a movie star that whole shtick was, I am pathetic.
Right. You know what Will Smith needs when
What?
you bring up Hugh Grant? He needs Jay Leno. Will Smith needs to go on a Jay Leno Tonight Show.
So how did you know you weren't married is the question.
But he just honestly the same question he asked Hugh Grant. What
were
the
you
hell were
thinking?
you thinking?
Yeah.
That's
were you
what Will
thinking?
Smith needs. That cathartic, we're all in on this. You had a bad run there. And Jay Leno asked Will Smith, what the hell were you thinking?
But see, he won't extricate himself from this marriage. So as long as the marriage lasts, this will be looming.
Yeah.
So I
But he's
think,
divorced.
is he? They're not, but they refuse to get divorced. Pat, that's the other thing. They
Right.
will not get, that is also the thing. They are separated for 7 years and they said they will never get divorced.
Right. Right.
So where does that leave you? Because
It leaves him
unless
as
you
Pee
are
Wee Herman. Will Smith is the modern day, post movie theater jerk off gate.
and
Pee Wee
he
Herman, and
never,
that's a
Pee
bad
Wee
spot.
Herman never got back to any sort of lead role. He was
Right.
in Blow. He was in Mystery Men. He
Right.
was in, I think he was in Buffy the Vampire Slayer after the jerk off, right?
Yes. Yeah. And he was great
Because
in
the
all
jerk
those,
off,
but
the jerk off was very early. It was like early 90s or late 80s. It
yeah,
was early 90s,
early
right? So
90s.
early
Yeah.
90s.
Because by the
So
time Batman Returns comes out in 92, Pee Wee's already trying to make his comeback from the jerk off gate.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's a long time ago, but honestly, that's what Will Smith is in. Or, Downey passing out in someone else's house, but
Yeah.
with Downey, he gets the sympathy of,
But
dealing
Downey
with
gave up the
addiction and all
junk.
that.
Downey
Right.
has been able to kick the horse. Will can't kick the horse. He can't kick the horse.
Uh-huh.
Jada is the
Well, yeah,
course
well,
in
yeah.
this. And by
So
horse I mean drugs, not a physical horse.
right. So yeah, I think Will Smith is pretty screwed as a movie
Yeah, I
star from
mean,
all this.
he had those, there was those Bad Boys movie in production coming out. There was those photos, and it's like, as much as I have said after the slap that I can't watch him in a movie anymore because there's just something about it. I can't get my head around it. It was so sad what he did. Like, it just made him look so small. But even me, I saw those pictures of it's coming. Bad Boys 5. Could I really resist a Bad Boys 5? And now I can. Now I just hope it never happens because I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
want a Bad Boys movie to be a flop, which it
Yeah,
will
yeah.
be.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's a sad situation for Will Smith. So, Clayton, is there anything else you want to go over in this after show? We've tackled our own show. We've tackled that completely botched divvying
That
up the
clown
millions
show.
segment that
What?
you initiated on the last episode.
You
We've
bailed on. The
we've
one you bailed on.
yeah, you jump off of a train before it goes off the rails. Try and land on safe ground before it goes off a cliff. That's sometimes what you got to do.
Well, you didn't stick the landing there, pal.
You know what? I don't want to stick a landing if it means I'm landing in a canyon while the train goes off a cliff. So we covered that train wreck segment. We covered Jada and Will. Anything else you want to go over in the after show, or do you think we've given the people enough of a web exclusive for this episode?
Oh, I think that's enough. I mean, I don't think we want to go into any sort of, I mean, the other things we could talk about is like tracking, but I think we need to
No.
really give some time to, on a regular episode to this Marvels tracking,
Yes, yes.
which, we
We'll
were
get
going
to
to
that.
maybe have, just this is web exclusive, obviously. We're going to
Right.
maybe have David Thompson on to talk because he is he calls himself a Swiftie.
Yes.
He said he's a Swiftie and he's a big Marvel guy. And we were going to talk this Marvels tracking, which looks vomitous.
It looks pretty rough. So I think we'll get to that on another episode of the BO Boys, but this is our first ever after show episode. It's our first web exclusive. Of course, we had the unboxing, unbagging episode as our first web exclusive, but
Yeah.
we're going to be doing more of this on the YouTube channel. It's not getting on the podcast feed. You can't find this on Spotify, only on the YouTube channel. So if you want more of the after show, subscribe to the YouTube channel and we will do more.
Yes.
So that's it, Clayton.
Yeah.
All right. Bye bye, YouTube.
Bye.